Hello guys, welcome to Slick Report. Please subscribe for more videos.
AITA for reporting sexual harassment, my friend, M. 20, and I, F. 20. Started after year of friendship to have a thing. FWB. We wouldn't do actual sex, but jerk each other off and stuff. One day I asked him if he wants to come over and talk, which we used to do before. He came over and started to initiate some weird stuff and said some comments, and eventually when we sat on my bed, he took my hand and put it on his groin area. I pulled my hand and he immediately took it again and put it there again. I pulled my hand back again, and he put it back there again. And the third time I gave up. I felt trapped because I felt like I couldn't just leave my own house. I jerked him off and afterwards he treated me horribly for a few minutes and then left. I couldn't see his face anymore, couldn't come to any social event he was in. I had nightmares for weeks. He disappeared after that. After 2 months of not talking, I confronted him and asked where TF he's been for these 2 months. He blamed me for his disappearance and told me he really didn't notice he hurt me that badly at the time. I hate him. He made me scared of men for weeks and feel haunted at my own house. I want to report him to the police, even if they do nothing, which is understandable, since I didn't manage to say stop GTFO of my house at the time. AITA for wanting to report him, even though he may have not noticed I did not want to touch him. AITA for not wanting to eat toilet rice, so my daughter dropped a phone into the toilet and my wife immediately took the phone out of the case and put it in rice. In the past I told her the rice hack is a myth, but she believes, and now I don't bring it up anymore. However, when I saw she put the phone into our pantry rice, I asked why she needed so much for a phone. We have to throw it all out now. She said it's okay, when we cook it, the germs will be dead. When I explained all the ways that doesn't work, she got mad and said I can buy my own rice because I was insulting her native culture. Oh, she didn't talk to me for 45 minutes, then we argued again, and she threw all the toilet rice out. I thanked her, hugged, and took out the trash. When I come back, she's filling the old contaminated container with new rice. Rather than argue, I'm going to throw out the new rice and clean the container myself and refill if we have any left in the bag. AITA for yelling just leave me the fuck alone during a family dinner at a crowded restaurant. For context, my brother, 26 meters, and I, 18F, have never gotten along. He's hated me since before I was even born. He spent my entire childhood controlling everything I did, watched, and even ate. At Christmas he pissed me off. I was quite proud of myself for buying my first vehicle all on my own. He called my truck a POS. Then said to our parents, insurance companies statistically have higher rates for female drivers than males. He was absolutely insinuating they shouldn't put me on their policy, simply because he's been on their policy since he turned 16 and has never paid for insurance. He knew damn well he was getting bumped off when I was added. First of the year, our mom told him to get his own policy. He was pretty salty about that. Fast forward to this past weekend, it was our dad's birthday. Honestly, I didn't even want to go and sit through my brother's usual bullshit about how great he is, but I went, and as usual pretty much remained quiet. My brother asks, so when are you moving out? I was like, excuse me? He says, you're 18 now, you need to get out on your own now. Literally no one said anything, so I told him it's none of his business. He says, well, I moved out at 19. Here's where things spiraled. I said to him, you're not even on your own yet since you haven't bothered paying a single penny of rent in 7 years. He was fuming and tried changing the topic. My mom made a comment about that soon changing. Brother's girlfriend was like, what? So I told her, he moved out at 19 and hasn't paid our parents a penny of rent all these years. She was livid, unbeknownst to anyone at that table. She had been paying my brother rent for 2 years because he led her to believe he was paying rent. The topic went off somewhere else, then right back to me. My brother trying to give me fatherly advice by saying I should focus on my current job and forget wasting time with college. This was absolutely unsolicited advice. It pisses me off when he does this because he always does it and acts like because of our age gap, he has so much more knowledge than stupid ass me. He again comments about me moving out, says to our dad, "I can't believe you haven't kicked her out after she brought all those animals in your house." They both laugh. I had enough. I got up from the table and yelled, "Just leave me the fuck alone." My mom understood, but she doesn't want the family to fight. My dad said I was extremely rude by lashing out, caused a scene, made undue stress and embarrassed everyone. Apparently after I walked out, my brother says, "Well, she obviously has something wrong in her head." I felt bad because I'm sure a few kids dining with their families heard me, and I shouldn't have cussed it in front of them. And I guess I should have held it in and dealt with it later, but I've always let this crap slide, and I was sick of it. AITA. AITA for calling my BF ugly because he keeps obsessing over beabadoobee and posting about how much he wanted her. I, 18F, have been dating my BF, 19 meters, for 2 years now. He's been obsessing over the musician beabadoobee for a while now. When he was saying how pretty she is, I was just ignoring it from the beginning because I didn't want to look insecure, and I was just thought it's a harmless celebrity crush. But then it got annoying when he would constantly comment on her page, how much he wanted her, and how he found her sexy. He would even buy her recent CD album and play it constantly. It got to the point where I would constantly compare myself to her. I used to like her music and her fashion sense, but I can't look at her the same because of him. One day we were in a car, and he was saying how he's mad about how B got a new boyfriend, and he was saying how he didn't deserve her cause he's white. We're both Filipino, by the way. And I got annoyed and just told him, she won't even look in his direction cause I just know he'd be too ugly for her. And he got pissed cause of this and ignored me for the whole day. To be fair, he's not conventionally attractive anyway, and I just blurted out something that would hurt him cause I was annoyed. Am I the asshole? AITA for saying that if my husband died, I would inherit their family home to my brother-in-law. My husband was in an accident while he was visiting his family. My in-laws weren't planning to tell me because we've been having issues for over a year that they know about, but he kept asking for me, so they finally did. He had already been discharged from the hospital by the time I got there, so he was recovering at their family home. I went straight there as soon as my flight landed, but my brother-in-law was refusing to let me in to see him. He told me to wait outside until my husband woke up, and if he still wanted to see me then he would let me in. He was also implying the accident was my fault. I was tired and irritated, so I told him that if my husband died, I would inherit their family home and then I'd be the one keeping him outside. He took it to mean I was disappointed my husband hadn't died, which couldn't be further from the truth. I eventually left and got a hotel because he got so angry that he was scaring me, and continuing to argue with him would have been pointless. He told everybody what I said, so when I next went to see my husband things were awkward between me and his family. No matter how many times I've tried to explain I never meant it the way my brother-in-law took it, it hasn't made a difference. The only person who didn't take my brother-in-law at his word is my husband, who has been making a joke out of it. AITA. AITA for telling my son that deaf is a special needs. Hello, I am 45F, and I have a 20-years-old son, Ron. He is deaf. He is high-functioning, almost like a regular adult without a disability, and can speak and lip read, and is independent for most parts, and just relies on me for some stuff. Yesterday evening, I was watching Love on the Spectrum with my son, and I told my son that even special needs person can find love, and even though he was one of them, due to his deafness, he can find love. He got upset with me and told me that deaf is not special needs. I said that being deaf is a special needs because he relies on me for several stuff such as making phone calls for doctor appointment, or hearing fire alarm, etc. He said that special needs is referred to those that are low functioning, and cannot be completely independent, such as autism, Down syndrome, etc. And Ron said he was much more independent than them. I told him that he has to stop rejecting the fact that he is disabled, and he has special needs, and there was nothing wrong with that. He got pretty upset with me, and told me that I was not a supportive person because he said that by saying he has special needs, I do not believe that he can ever be independent, and he just left the room. So AITA for saying that deaf is a special needs and my son is a special needs? AITA for embarrassing my fiancé in front of his family, me, 29F, and my fiancé, 26M, recently welcomed our first child VF. Last weekend we were invited to a family gathering from my future in-laws, his dad, stepmom, and basically all of Jay's paternal family for celebrating the first child of the oldest son of the head of the family. If it matters, Jay's paternal family is from Albania, very family-oriented and Muslim. Till that evening, I have just met his dad and mom, which are totally fine with me being an Christian-influenced atheist and don't wearing an hijab. After the introduction of V and me, the conversation went downhill. At first someone said that V doesn't look the slightest like Jay, and that he should take a paternity test. He said that we, for the sake of the family, will take one, but he is sure that I would never cheat. Next his aunt asked when I will take over to Islam, please forgive the stupid wording, I don't know how to say it otherwise, and start wearing my hijab. I said I don't plan to do so, and that we want to raise V with the intention that she could decide by herself, but she wants to believe in. It would be mild to say that half of the family was PD after that. Jay wanted to fix things by stating that I maybe change my mind after marriage. Nope, and that he could guide me, says the guy who regularly eats and drinks something non-halal and smokes. To hold things short, after some other questions in that manner, the discussion escalates into something like UBTH. Dare you to live on Jay's expenses in his flat, not even doing all the housework. At this point I may turn to BTA, as I said that it's actually my flat, that I pay for all our expenses and even for Jay's liabilities and his car, inclusive insurance, and that a man who can't even wash some clothes, cook, at least for himself, or take the trash out isn't even an adult but a child himself. With these words I left, with our child of course, followed by an gobsmacked and angry Jay. He's still angry about the things I said. And my future SMIL texted me that I ruined the gathering and the reputation of my fiancé and his father. I must admit that I maybe went too far with the declaration of our financial situation, but these hour-long accusations that I'm likely an gold digger, and Jay not defending me had turned a switch in my head. AITA for telling my best friend she needs to leave her boyfriend. I, 26F, feel like an asshole because this has been a never-ending cycle, and I'm starting to wonder if this is my fault. Every couple of months or so, my best friend, of 22 years, let's call her Anna, 27F, will call me literally bawling her eyes out about something her boyfriend of 7 years did. Let's call him Bob, 28M, and I mean bawling. So here's the cycle. 1. She calls me crying because he's really mean to her. 2. I tell her she needs to leave him. 3. She agrees and starts the process. 4. Bob apologizes and she forgives him. 5. She doesn't talk to me for several weeks and tells him that I told her to leave him, things Bob has done. 3 examples. Called off their wedding multiple times because he doesn't believe in marriage, even though she's always talked about getting married, her whole life. It's one of the first things they ever talked about. He told her several times leading up to the wedding that he just didn't want to marry her. On their actual wedding day, he left her at the altar. He told her that he hopes she miscarries even though they were purposefully trying to have a baby, in which he said he wanted. Anytime she goes out and has drinks with me, he makes fun of her and calls her an alcoholic, even though she most definitely is not. It happens maybe once a month. The list goes on, but I think these are some good examples. Why I may be the asshole, I strongly believe that they both want very different things for their lives, and I don't want her to have wasted so much time with someone who couldn't meet her expectations. I always tell her this. I always tell her she deserves better, but maybe then just isn't my place to say. Maybe I should just be more supportive and encourage her to work it out with him. AITA for my coworker's daughter going through my purse and finding something inappropriate. Hi. So, very early 20s, own a toy that looks like a lipstick. I was headed somewhere after work where I would need this tool, so in my purse it went. It was in a velvet pouch that was in a makeup bag that was inside a pocket that was on the inside of my zipped up, filled to the brim purse. I put the purse where purses go, pretty high area of locker-like compartments, and went about my day. Mind you, the place where we leave personal belongings is outside my working area, and no personal belongings are allowed past that point. We aren't allowed to use locks per the boss request. However, I got called to the front desk for my admin coworker wanted to return something of mine to me. When I got there, she told me that her not very old daughter had gone through my purse and found my lipstick. I stood there in disbelief and expecting an apology to follow her rant as she explained how her child had gone through my purse and through different pockets and many purses to be able to find that. She said she liked the shade and went to her mom to ask for something similar. Then my coworker figured out it wasn't a lipstick once she opened it and saw no pigment and a charging port. She flipped out on me saying how I shouldn't bring that anywhere near my place of work, and I stood there, flabbergasted, and all I could say is she went through my purse. Why did you let your daughter go through someone else's purse that was out of reach? I also told her I had not brought that anywhere near my workplace, as it was outside and tucked away. I don't think your daughter knows what it was, but it's disturbing to me that she had to find a stool to climb onto the locker area, access my purse, and then go through all of it till she found it. I want to make it crystal clear how out of reach the thing was. We didn't come to any sort of agreement and kept blaming each other, so I apologized for her child having found it, as that was not my intention, and told her to keep her child out of my things or out of the personal belonging area entirely.